This is going to be one of those rare early morning videos, but FedEx, the global shipping logistics supply chain giant, has just in the past 40 minutes been announced that they've joined the Hedera Council, the governing council. I think that makes 33 of the world's leading organizations on the council now. We're definitely going to talk about that. Late last night, the CFTC put out a list of leading individuals across multiple industries, but mainly crypto, to sit on kind of this board. We're going to talk about that. We are going to, I'm seeing a lot right now about this Synchronization Lab, Bank of England Synchronization Lab. Swift put out a post yesterday. Quant put out a post yesterday. A lot of the crypto news outlets putting out breaking, just in, type tweets. If you watch this channel, you got that information Monday or Tuesday of this week because it didn't break yesterday. It broke days ago. We'll talk about that briefly, though. But I'm going to start with the Hedera Council because this is quite literally brand new, 40 minutes old as of the time of me recording this. Sidebar here, I did a crazy video yesterday on this European Central Bank document that talks about pretty much the entire financial system moving on chain. You're talking about, I see a lot of people say all the money, but then put out some weird, arbitrary, like 10-year-old documents in stating it. This is quite literally all the money, and this European Central Bank Eurosystem document comes from last year. And this talks about every trial that has basically existed in the Eurozone that we know about, and every asset class, every market, all coming on chain. I mentioned yesterday, I consider that pretty much like the dress rehearsal for the actual dance. FedEx joins the Hedera Council this morning to support trusted digital infrastructure for global supply chains. We'll read through this right here, but essentially you have a quote from Vishal Talwar. I probably mispronounced that, and I apologize. Executive Vice President, Chief Digital and Information Officer at FedEx, saying that the digital transformation of global supply chains is inevitable. You have the President of the Hedera Council saying that FedEx brings deep operational insight into global logistics and commerce. Their perspective will be valuable as the industry transitions towards digitally native supply chain. FedEx manages over 15 million shipments daily across 220 countries and territories. Coordinating these shipments requires real-time coordination across customs agencies, logistics partners, e-commerce platforms, and regulatory bodies. Today, much of that communication still depends on siloed systems, manual reconciliation, and paper-based verification. And, hopefully a lot of that changes. But this is major, obviously. I had the Hedera Council site pulled up before this morning, and I want to see if they updated it. So we'll do a refresh in real time. And yeah, it looks like they updated it. FedEx right there. Council members since the 13th of February, 2026. For those that aren't aware of the council members of Hedera, Aberdeen Aero, AP Plus, which is essentially the ACH system in Australia, Avery Dennison, BitGo, Chainlink, B4E or Blockchain for Energy, Kafra, Dell, Dentons, Deutsche Telekom, DLA Piper, EDF, FedEx, now FedEx, Google, Hitachi, IBM, IIT Madras, LG, LSE, Magalu, Mondelez, Nairobi Securities Exchange, Nomura, Repsol, ServiceNow, Shinhan Bank, Standard Bank, Swirlds, Tata Communications, Ubisoft, Wipro, and Zane. What is that? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 33. And I think we need to get to 39. So 6 left. And I wonder which 6 they are, because really, obviously, do your own due diligence here. Genfinity has a media relationship within Hedera. But that being said, I mean, you can look at this, and anybody with a brain can say, okay, there's like almost an intentional agnosticism towards like enterprise industry, meaning it's so spread out between like amongst industry verticals. You have like a huge electronics organization, you have fund management, you have the ACH system, you have banking, you have native Web3, you have telecom, you have now a gigantic global shipping and logistics, you have e-commerce, you have edge computing and computing in general, you have cloud, you have I mean, you do the math. not do the math, but look at the governing council, and it's interesting to me just to see the breadth of different individuals. So absolutely huge. I think it'll be interesting. It does seem that there's been more of a push over the past year to year and a half for council members that join to actually have use cases on the network, or at least that's what has been said. So hopefully that does come to fruition and we see some actual usage of the network here soon. This came out last night. CFTC Innovation Advisory Committee members. Obviously, this is huge. And from the blockchain and Web3 stance, you have literally sitting on the CFTC Innovation Committee, this advisory committee. Uniswap is represented. Coinbase is represented. Polymarket is represented. A16Z is represented. And then you have obviously CME Group, CBOE, NASDAQ. Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple is represented. FanDuel. Bitnomial, Crypto.com, Anchorage Digital, Grayscale, Chainlink. So, I mean, we've been talking about Chainlink and Ripple on this channel forever. DraftKings, LSCG, is more of a traditional entity, but we've talked about them lately. Kraken would be 11 for crypto. I probably missed one. Blockchain.com. ICE, or Intercontinental Exchange, is big. Robinhood. Gemini is obviously native crypto. And Solana is, I think that makes number 14 for native crypto. So, you know, what you're going to, the low hanging fruit here is like to basically be like, well, why isn't my network represented? And why are these networks and individuals represented? But I would rather take a step back and just be like, how amazing is it that we're in 2026, and after all the stuff that like the XRP community and Ripple and everything went through, and this is like industry wide, that we have this much crypto representation sitting on an innovation advisory committee for literally the CFTC. That should tell you pretty much where the United States is going as far as blockchain, crypto, and digital asset innovation. You have at least probably around half of this entire list, and I probably missed some that are just pure Web3 advisory. So I think it's absolutely awesome. Hopefully we get more of that. Real quick, let me go back here. So I did this video yesterday, and I just on the flywheel effect and how kind of going through all of these trials in the Euro system and seeing that pretty much all of the money is going to start coming onto these networks. I mean, I've talked about blockchain, crypto, and DLT basically just being an upgrade to the system. Those documents are sometimes pretty difficult to get through. That was a very, very long document with tons of slides and tons of different proof of concepts and trials and different markets and everything. We put an article together from that, and you can watch the full video on my X. It's linked through genfinity.io in this article. The networks that are mentioned or have, like the 7 degrees or 6 degrees, whatever it is, of Kevin Bacon, how you can like trace things. That always happens in crypto too. But a private instance of the XRPL is on there where literally the entity is acting as the Ministry of Finance. That's pretty interesting. You have, why would that happen? You have Hedera essentially using Hyperledger Besu as kind of the EVM equivalent. And there's lots of that instance in there. Solana directly, through R3 in there, because now we know, and I am waiting to publish this R3 interview probably Monday or Tuesday next week. But I did a big interview with R3. For those of you guys that have been here for a while, R3 was pretty much the OG for private permissioned blockchain utilization at the enterprise level 10 years ago. I mean, there was nobody really else in the game. I mean, you could say Hyperledger did some stuff. You could say, obviously, Digital Asset had a lot of private environment initiatives, but R3 was another very big one. And again, it should tell you where this industry is going when an entity like R3, who has all of these traditional corresponding relationships, basically says like all of their initiatives are bridging over onto public networks, public mainnet, and it's happening on Solana. So that interview is really good. And this guy that I interviewed has been with R3 for that amount of time. He was the CTO, now he's the CEO. Solana, or not Solana, but R3 is in that ECB document. Chainlink, I don't think Chainlink's in that document, but Chainlink's everywhere. Canton is directly in that document. But yeah, you go through this. I mean, it talks about every single asset class, every market coming on chain, a sovereign corporate and vanilla bonds, 130 trillion repo markets. And that R3 interview is insightful too, because he's talking about how we come up with different terminology in crypto. So whereas in traditional finance, we call it repo, in crypto, we just say it like on-chain lending and borrowing, tokenized bank deposits, all this stuff. It's really cool to see just how much of these asset classes are going to start kind of moving. And the network's named in the document. So QuantNet, you have to do a little bit of digging here and use this video kind of as a guide. I mean, we try to do our best to make it easy for you guys to read this stuff, but Canton is in there. QuantNet is interoperates with HSBC's Orion platform. XRP Ledger, the private instance, you kind of go through it. I might have to go through that and make sure everything's totally correct. Yeah, I definitely have to go through it. Anyways, it's a good reference. Gilbert, delighted to share that Quant Network has been selected for the Bank of England Synchronization Lab as part of the Real-Time Gross Settlement Future Roadmap. Our use case, and this is coming from Quant, is atomic multi-bank treasury operations powered by QuantFlow and PayScript. All payment legs settle together or not at all, eliminating partial settlement risk across multiple banks in a single action. This is programmable finance that works within existing market structures, not around them. And you can see the press release here from Quant as well. I know Swift put out a similar thing. This is really interesting. I need to read through this. I didn't read through this yet. I'm just bringing it up to you guys because I know I did a video on the Synchronization Lab. Here we go. I did a video on this like a few days ago, and you can see about the Synchronization Lab and see all the entities involved. Swift, Quant, LSCG, who was just in that CFTC document, Chainlink. Now, obviously, the low-hanging fruit here, what always happens in crypto is like when you don't see your network mentioned, you have to go back to a document that's like maybe 10 years old. And it's like, here's proof. And it's like, okay, but we're a decade beyond that now. That's not to say that things aren't happening. Like I saw that a lot with Ripple. Ripple has a document, obviously, with Interledger Protocol that Bank of England trotted out in 2015 or 2016. And I'm seeing like a ton of posts about that now around the Synchronization Lab. It doesn't always have to be like this end all be all zero sum game for like, trying to find connections that are a decade old. I'm sure that there are still connections behind the scenes that we don't know about, but it's like we can probably do better than using a decade old document to talk about them. But yeah, you can see the new stuff here, and I'm seeing a lot of people talk about this today, but this came out a few days ago. I think FedEx joining the Hedera Council is a big deal. That's 33 organizations now. It'll be interesting to see potentially what's next. I think the CFTC list, that should be the big news if you're going to talk about Ripple and XRP today. XRP Community Day was earlier this week. Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse having a seat at the table for this Innovation Advisory Committee at the CFTC is absolutely massive. And that you don't have to connect dots for that because it's right in front of your face. So anyways, I will talk to you guys when I talk to you. Early video today. I hope you guys have a great weekend. God bless. And yeah, later. Bye.